Got something to say? Get in on the conversation at 415-915-2291. That's 415-915-CALL-1.
Welcome to Conspiracies Against Wellness with your host, Jonelle Elgaway.
Good evening. Welcome to Conspiracies Against Wellness. I'm your host, Jonelle Elgaway. Tonight we have guest co-host Thea Barnes. Thea, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm really excited about tonight's show.
Yes. Tonight is a continuation of last night's show. Last night we were talking about cyberstalking, bullying, support groups, social media support groups, Facebook support groups, and I'm going to be sharing my actual personal story of being stalked for the last 12, 13 years, which is pretty crazy. I did want to talk about what is identifying a cyberstalker. It is someone sometimes difficult for a person who is being harassed or stalked to realize the situation is a criminal act that should be reported to authorities. In deciding whether a situation is truly stalking, the victim should consider whether the perpetrator is acting with malice and premeditation. Stalking activities are often a repetitive, obsession-based vendetta directed personally at a victim. This behavior continues even when the victim has personally been warned and the perpetrator has been asked to stop. There's key factors to identify cyberstalking cases. False accusations, like a cyberstalker tries to damage the reputation of the victim by posting false information on social media. They may even create fictitious websites or accounts for the purpose of spreading false rumors and allegations about the victim. We see this a lot with the entertainment industry, somebody that's famous that's on TV. Another thing is gathering information on the victim. A cyberstalker may try to gather as much information as possible on a victim by interacting with victims' friends, family, and colleagues. In a serious case, a cyberstalker might hire a private investigator. I know for me, with my issue, they did this. They reached out to family, friends, husband at the time, even my brother's ex-wife, which is pretty crazy. Another thing is monitoring the victim's activities. A cyberstalker may attempt to trace their victim's IP address or hack into the victim's social media accounts and emails to learn online activities. This again happened to me with Google. My Google was breached or hacked, and I was able actually to look on and see where her IP address was, and I know where she lives, and this is where it was, and it was pretty nuts. Another thing is encouraging others to harass the victim. I know this goes on with the support groups sometimes, and I know we will talk more about this. And Thea, I know you know a personal case where this is going on, which is pretty nuts. They do this mob mentality. They'll all jump on with, equal people. The last thing is false victimization. It is not uncommon for a cyberstalker to claim the victim is harassing them, taking the position of the victim in their own mind, which, as last night we were talking about this Kate person, and I think she is still on somewhere doing this under somebody else's personal accounts. Don't you, Thea?
Absolutely. I think that she had multiple profiles, and she probably is within her same group still, or she's in other groups, and she's starting all over again.
Mm-hmm. So
she's starting her intimacy. I think, like we talked about last night, I think that she has issues with intimacy, and she needed that personal touch or that connection with people. And I definitely believe that hate is still out there.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal story. So this happened to me. It's from what I know, it started in like 2005 or six, and it is actually my first husband's wife, and I didn't realize anything until probably around 2006. It was on MySpace, and with MySpace, I was very new to going on to online support groups or just being online, period. I didn't get into that stuff very much. And I was talking to Thea earlier today because she actually didn't know much about my story either with this. But this person created a false or fake account on MySpace and friend requested me, and I was very new to this stuff, so I accepted her. And I guess the first thing that kind of like gave me a little bit of like, oh, that's weird. I'm Lebanese, by the way, part Lebanese. And they asked me, do you have a recipe for curry chicken? That's a very odd thing, isn't it? I mean, that's odd.
Yeah.
You don't get asked about curry chicken. I don't know. It was just different. But I didn't, because I was very naive, I just okayed it. And I said, all right, whatever. So I told her about it. And then about a month into it, something was said. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was just, it turned me on. I don't know. It gave me signals suddenly. And I was like, who are you? Like, do I know you? And then they shamed me. They called me a slut, whore, bitch. And then they said I was a drug addict and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa. And then that's when I realized, oh my goodness, this is like, I was hearing from some people in my family that,
okay, so she was contacting your family members as well.
yes, she started.
Okay, so she verbally abused you first in chat, or she started taking it outside of the online space?
It was MySpace. It was PMing on, or whatever, I don't know what it was called then, on MySpace. But like she came in very friendly and nice and kind and stuff like that. And then this happened, and I remember my sister was telling me, hey, our brother, his ex-wife was talking to my ex-husband's new wife, and I heard something kind of through the grapevine of like, that they were being friendly or whatever. So I called my brother's ex-wife and I said, hey, do you know who this person is? Are you being friends with her? And she's like, Jonelle, she is stalking you. She's crazy. And that's why I am like friends with her, which was actually BS, because really they were, I don't know if this was like a Elgaway, like hating group or what they're doing, but that's what it felt like. And, now looking back, that's what was going on. I mean, I've seen pictures that they went on vacation together and stuff like that. So this is when it first started, and immediately I shut down all my social media accounts because I felt like, I don't know, I didn't know how to react to this,
Did the stalking just stay on social media, or did it eventually leave social media as well?
Yeah, no, it eventually left social media. In 2013, I moved back to Pennsylvania because I got divorced, and I was dating a guy from high school, and this person sent flowers for my birthday to my, at the time, boyfriend's mother's house, out in the boondocks, out in the sticks. Like, I don't know how she got the number or the address and stuff like that. So I got a subpoena because I called the flower company and I'm like, who did this? And they said, we had strict instructions not to tell you any information. I thought it was my ex-husband who wasn't supposed to get in contact with me at all because it didn't end well. And so I paid a lot of money to get a subpoena, and my lawyer called me back and said, hey, it's this person. Do you know them? I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is really weird. And it was this stalker that I've had since like that I know of, at least 2005-6 area. And so that happened, and then in 2015 I found out I had CRPS RSD. I've never gone into support groups ever in my life. I went on to support groups online because this was an invisible disease. We don't know much about it. My doctors didn't know much about it. They just said Google it, which was probably the worst thing you could do. And that was, I was scary. And I think that I'm trying to give you an idea of why we go into these support groups and the trust we put into them, because I was going there because I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't hearing a lot of information, and I was scared. I was so scared. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, all I see is like suicide disease and stuff like that, and the worst pain in the world kind of disease you could get. I'm freaking out.
And that's the thing, when you also enter into these support groups, finding out something like that, you enter these support groups, we literally are wearing our hearts on our sleeve. We're terrified, and we're going in there, and we are really trusting that everybody in there is going to support us in there, and that they're going to, we instantly, it's like we need a group hug.
Yeah.
And when we go into those places, that's what we're kind of looking for. We're looking for that group hug from people who actually understand.
And we say gentle hugs in our groups, but yeah.
Yes, gentle hugs.
So what was weird is in 2015, that was March 2015, I was actually diagnosed with CRPS RSD, and I knew I had it probably since around 2009 and 10. But, that's how long it took for me to get diagnosed, because I have a slew of other issues, other diseases, and other chronic health issues. So I went on and I got into a few nonprofits within the CRPS community. I know Barbie Ingalls, she'll be coming on tonight to share her story too. That's when her and I met, and a few other people I met then that, the issues with now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But so I went on, and somehow my stalker found out I had CRPS and started creating fake accounts, which, by the way, over the years, she's probably created hundreds of fake accounts. And I want you to understand how in depth these go. I mean, they're years old. Okay, so I'll personally talk about how I learned. I mean, it's almost like I see in my head the words now, and I could see quickly of who she is, although she changes things up sometimes when she figures out I'm onto her. So, like, it's not easy to figure out. So 2015, I found out I had this. Then I started, getting into the support groups and stuff like that. So she creates a few fake accounts, one particular I knew of, and I noticed it was her immediately because of the stuff that I will go over later of what I identify as when it's her. But she was actually...
Well, why don't we go into your story?
Okay.
Why don't we really start from the beginning and
really
tell us, because your story is something. It really is something.
Okay, so
I know that you've already sort of giving us tidbits.
Yeah.
It's hard to say where you should start. I'd like to say start from the beginning, but I think you've already sort of given us the beginning.
So I could talk about...
This stalking took on many forms, because she didn't just keep in one space.
No. And also, by the way, because she's married to my ex-husband, she has my birthplace. She has my parents' maiden name, my mom's maiden name. She has my birth date, my social, all of that, which in November and December of 2015, she took out 8 credit cards in my name. Okay. And I had to get involved. The Federal Trade Commission got involved, the FBI got involved, and the police got involved, and I still was not able to do anything about this. And that
the police didn't want to intervene, or no one wanted to intervene and do something about it?
The local police actually tracked down. They got in touch with at least one or a few of the credit card companies and did follow their address back. But they're like, well, Jonelle, you lived there prior, because where my ex-husband lives, they live now. And I said, but I was never under that name, which was Jonelle Miller, which is my ex-husband's name, Miller. But my first husband, I mean, we weren't married very long, but it was a different last name. So they're like, we think that. And I said, no, I was never there under that. I wasn't Jonelle Miller until 2006. So that's not possible. I think, honestly, I live on an island in a very small place, and there's not a lot of local police and stuff, and they just couldn't do much. And my credit score went from 800s down to 400s, and I'm just getting it back. And it's 2017. Yeah. I'm just getting it back. And that's how difficult this was. And on top of it all, I'm disabled. I can't work. You know what I mean? So it really stunk.
Yep. Well, why do you think you were a target? Because initially it sounds like, okay, it was sort of like a bad love triangle gone wrong or something like that. And
I've never met
when
her
when
in my life.
when I
Yeah.
say when I say that, it's more because she had an issue about you being his ex-wife, or
I
you
don't.
having been in his life.
Right, and honestly,
what I
that's
mean?
what's scary is because I don't know her. I've never met her, so I don't know what she's capable of.
The stats say that most of the time we don't know who
Right.
these people are,
Well,
which
and
is even scarier.
I can say I know she dyed her hair blonde. I've seen pictures of her in the same exact clothing that I have, like on social media. Like a family member will send it to me. I'm like, wow, that's a little weird. So I think it's an obsession-based thing.
Okay, but why the continued
I don't know.
targeting you?
Well, you know what? This is the thing. If I could understand that, I could tell you. I don't think that way. I don't understand it. I don't know why you would spend hours and hours every day to create all these fake accounts. I can't get it. Besides the fact that you're getting some type of oomph, or I don't know what. I did notice. So in the past, I would shut down all my social media accounts, all of them, when I would notice she was on it somehow or whatever. And even my ex-husband, recent ex-husband, I would get upset with him. I'm like, dude, why are you letting her follow you on your social media accounts? And she would with her real name. And he's like, she's nothing, Jonelle. If you just let her like in your life, maybe she'd let you alone. And now because of the show, I have to. I can't just shut everything down anymore. It's taking so much of me to be able to open myself up. It's not easy for me to do. I get scared so easily, but I can't any longer, you know? So what do I do? So the best I can do is I'm aware of her. I'm aware of what she's doing. And honestly, it might be her and my ex. I don't know. I'm not sure of any of it, but I know it's confirmed through my brother's ex-wife that she is doing this. I even saw in 2013 or 14, I forget, we were driving back from Myrtle Beach up to Pennsylvania with my family. They were on the side of the road going up north. She's not from the East Coast. So why were they there? You know? And I mean, I knew my ex-husband. I knew who he was, you know, but I didn't know, like, I know pictures of her. I don't understand
And
it.
unfortunately, people who report stalking or people who report cyber stalking and whatnot, quite often they're not believed either. And this is what the problem is, because we can go to the authorities and then nothing really happens either.
Well, you know, what's interesting is in 2015 when I went to the authorities, I think it was December of 2015, after the credit cards were taken out my name, he said, why didn't you ever report this in the past? And I said, well, nobody did anything really illegal. It was more of a harassment thing, like sending the flowers to me for my birthday, just being weird, you know, following family and friends, going on my personal accounts, trying to get into them, or hacking into my Google or Yahoo or whatever, which she did to my mom too. And I know my ex was good at computers, so that's why I think he's involved in this too, but I'm not sure. And you know, it's I can't understand it. It is scary. And so I told the police, okay, well, fine. Now I'm telling you. And they did something illegal. I mean, these were felony charges. One, when you do it over a state, that's a felony charge 1. There should have been 8 counts of felony charges on this. Then one of the credit cards was actually used too, several times. Each one should have been a felony count. And I don't know what I could have done. By the way, International Pain Foundation says they make it their job and purpose. And you know what? I agree. And the thing is I've noticed, and Thea, I know you had
that's where Kate comes up. You know,
well, that
really,
and also
it was
with
her job.
Right,
it was a full-time job.
But with your ex too. I mean, like, I think when you don't react, then and that's when I think what happened is. I blocked her in early March, I don't know, June 2015. I blocked her immediately. I didn't respond. So then she went into the groups of CRPS communities. And this was weird. So a woman I was speaking with
That's true. They will try to get contact.
Yeah. A woman I was speaking with in Israel, we were good friends and stuff. We talked a lot. We were working together to try to help build awareness and advocacy for our diseases and stuff. And she's like, hey, Jonelle, this girl's been calling me. We've been talking on the phone. And she's like, she wanted to know why you blocked her. And I'm like, what? Who is it? What are you talking about? And it was at one of the accounts I noticed that was hers, because I will go through, if you would like later, what I felt that was what stands out to me and what I know of her. Yeah. So, but she's like, well, she had, you know, she was telling me about her kids, the number of kids, where she lives and stuff like that. I'm like, that's my stalker of the last 12 years. I'm like, block her. I'm like, do not tell her a thing about me. And she's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah. So I told a lot of groups about it. But, you know, what doesn't say that she makes up another fake account and gets back in? And I can't tell. I don't know. I mean, like,
According to Facebook, their own, just if we were to just think about Facebook, Facebook reports that they have 83 million fake profiles. So that's a lot of work for all of us to keep up with, just trying to figure out who's real and who's not.
yeah.
So people are creating these profiles all the time. It looks like it's nonstop.
I know, and see, like a lot of people will be like, well, how do you know these profiles? So this is what I do when I get a Facebook request on my personal page, and just other things. So when I go into one, the first thing I look at is how many mutual friends we have and who are they, you know? And if it's a lot of new people I accepted, which I'm having to because of what I do now, you know, I'm trying to be more open and stuff like that. I've even been told, you know, put your profile public, which I won't do yet. So I'll look at the mutual friends first, and I don't know, if there's people that have like hundreds of mutual friends that I have, I'm a little, a red flag goes up there. Or I'll look at how many friends or how long they've been on. If they have like only 23 friends, I know it's a new account. Or sometimes it will say joined, you know, June 2017. I'm a little leery then too, you know. Then
Yeah, I am too.
yeah, then I go into their abouts. And under their abouts, I go to their likes, hit them like, and then under, it doesn't take you just to likes immediately. Then I scroll down and I'll go to restaurants, because my stalker has always followed where I've lived, like every state, and I've lived in a lot of places. The restaurants or places I've gone to eat. She did this especially in Chicago, which was so weird. But I think the reason why is they would take photos of you when you're out. You know, like my ex-husband and I used to go to the clubs a lot because I was in my 20s, and that's the thing we did then. And so, you know, they would take pictures of you, and I think she'd be able to see me. You know, which one of those pictures I had a dress on, which I saw her in the same exact dress like a year later, which is,
Wow.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So okay, so then once I see the restaurants. And, you know, this is the other thing I fight with inside of myself. So when I'm looking at this stuff, I don't want to turn away somebody that really is needing help or wanting to be a part of what I'm doing, or where we can help each other, or is just a person that wants to, you know, meet and be kind and whatever. So that's what I'm fighting with when I'm doing this stuff. So, okay, so then I go to the likes and I look through. Is it something that I'm involved with? Is it something that I'm a part of? Or is it, you know, where are they following? Where do they live? You know, all of that stuff. I look through. Then if I'm not still sure, I'll go into their photos sometimes. I'll look at the comments. Is it generic comments like, oh, you're so gorgeous, you know? Or, oh, you're beautiful, because you know that they probably don't know them well. Or, but if it says something that actually like, hey, cousin, I'm so glad to see you. I can't wait to hang out with you next week. That's a little different, you know? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think though that a lot of the times now though, it's really hard though to always be for sure. And I think maybe a few people have probably been, I know I turn down friend requests and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And quite often I'll do it and I'll think, well, I'm not sure if they were real or not. Okay, they didn't have a lot of people in their profiles. But then again, when we get diagnosed with something, quite often we go looking for these support groups, and I think that people may be making profiles thinking, okay, I don't want people to know who I am,
Yeah.
you know. But what people have to understand is that now I think that we actually probably might hear from some of the support the moderators and administrators, yes, hopefully.
And by the way,
the reason that people are being asked questions, it is because we realize that there are people who want to keep their private life sort of private, but they need information, they need support. And the one thing that we have to admit about online support groups is they can be very supportive.
Of course.
That's why we keep going back to them. And that's why, you know, we get more support sometimes from the people in these groups than we do our own family or friends, because they happen to be the people who understand.
Where?
But we need better questions. We need better questions being asked when we're entering these groups.
Hey, Thea, we're getting some calls in, and I wanted to answer them. And perfect. I totally agree with you. Yeah. Caller from area code 480. What's your name and where are you from? Hello? Caller?
Hi, this is Barbie from Arizona.
Oh, hey, Barbie. How are you?
Hey, Barbie.
Oh, I'm doing okay. Thanks for doing a show on cyberstalking and bullying. It really is something that needs to be addressed, and I appreciate you both doing this tonight and last night.
Absolutely. So, can you tell us a little bit about your well, I know you have several stories. So, I don't know what you want to go into, but we want to hear it.
Absolutely. I'm going to talk. I've been stalked. I did modeling, and I was Miss Virginia, and I did a lot of that kind of stuff since a young age. So I've had stalkers and things that have happened, but nothing until I got into the RSC CRPS world, and so I think that since this is about health, I think that's what I'll focus on for this show.
Well, first of all, you are you president, CEO of International Pain Foundation? Which one?
Yeah, I am the president of the International Pain Foundation. Yes.
Yes, and so I know you talk to a lot of people all the time.
I do. I talk to thousands of patients in a year, and have been doing this for 11 years. Wow. Before I went into remission in 2009, I wasn't really on social media much, but I did attend a local support group and had a stalker in that support group who was contacting my ex-husband and my family members and causing trouble. That wasn't too bad. It was offline, and I really didn't have to. They didn't do anything to hurt me like your stalker's done to you. They just were trying to find something against me, but they never did.
Okay.
But then I got on social media. 2010, I got really into social media, and at that point, I also had published a book in 2007. Mm-hmm. So I did have a following from doing a book tour and that type of thing. When I joined social media, it was like almost instant. People were starting to follow me. And I did join some of the online groups, but I try to stay away from online. I'm like a member, but not active in most of the support groups that I am in still online, but I'm in them due to the foundation and the work that I do there. Just like you're saying, people are like, well, now you have a radio show, you have to do more. So I am in groups, but I don't post in those groups anything about the foundation. If a group wants to post something, they can, but it's something that it was too hurtful and painful to me. Mm-hmm. I call them a gaggle. I have a group of about 8 people who have literally said that their main goal in life is to ruin me and ruin the International Pain Foundation. At that time, it was the Power of Pain Foundation.
Wow.
I have them on tape saying it in one of their meetings, mm-hmm. That somebody in their meeting tape recorded and sent to me. And a lot of the stalking happened, like you were saying, you had like a friend protector. I had so-called friends. It was that I was cutting myself off from the bullies, and they would be making up lies like I had multiple accounts. I don't have multiple accounts, and I actually list the accounts that I do have mm-hmm. on my Facebook profile to all of my social media. And that's the accounts that I have, and that's all the accounts I have, and that sorry, I have another in.
Oh, that's okay. So you had somebody, they got together, a group of them, to talk about what they wanted to do with you, right? And so how did that make you feel? Like,
well, I actually was at the point of committing suicide.
Oh
I hired a lawyer. It cost over $5,000, and I didn't want to live, not because I did something wrong, but because I was trying to help a community mm-hmm. that was basically turning on me, and through that and through counseling and everything, I realized it's not me, it's that person, it's that gaggle. Yeah. It's each of them, whatever their reasons are, and I think a lot of it comes down to miscommunication, because they made up things like that I bought my house with foundation money. Well, actually, my husband owned this house mm-hmm. before we got married. like the things that they made up were easy to prove away.
Even the shoe thing. I know we talked about in Nordstrom.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the that they got back to me was that I bought, and they even, Paula Bill's one of my friends, they even contacted Paula to tell her to ask me about my $700 pair of shoes, which I don't have.
Right.
And I don't want, so please, I've had people go, well, I'll buy you a pair. I don't want a pair of $700 shoes. If I had $1 billion, I wouldn't even want $1 million house.
Yeah.
I'd want a whole bunch of little houses.
Well,
so I could like go stay in different.
And you know what I'm figuring out though is it's actually only a handful of people, or it could be very few.
Exactly.
But they can ruin everything. Yeah.
So they can make you want to die. And I had no contact. This was like coming through. And those friend protectors, looking back, they weren't friend protectors. Mm-hmm. They were egging stuff on. They were using them as someone to say, well, so-and-so said this about you. And I found this in an instant, like they would go on instant messenger, like on Facebook, and they would send, like 30 people are in this group, and they would send messages about me. And then someone would screenshot it and send it to me to try to get me upset. Well, now I don't even care. Like someone will send me that, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
thanks. Like, and I'm not going to do anything. It's nothing that I can do about their lies.
Has your stalking gone down because of the way you chose to react now, where you don't give them that reaction anymore?
I have no idea. I know that my life has gotten better because of the way I chose to change and react to it differently.
Yeah.
What I can only control what I do. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't care. I don't have fake accounts. I do have people who make accounts. Like on Twitter, there's somebody that made an account that's B Ingle, and people thought it was me. Mm-hmm. People still think, oh, that's you. I'm like, no, I used my whole name, Barbie Ingle.
Yes, I have the same thing on Twitter. There's a few under my name too, and I'm just like, that's not me, or something else, you know. And it's frustrating because like my family will be like, is that you? Yeah. And then on Facebook, someone came up with the name Taylor Ingle, and then friended me. And I was like, oh, how interesting of your name, because my husband's last name is Taylor, and so legally I'm Ingle. Mm-hmm. That my legal name is Ingle. That's my maiden name. It's the only name I've ever had. But because I'm married to Ken has asked me, hey, when you address my family, like when you send a birthday card, can you sign Barbie Taylor? So, or you know, in the return address area, put Ken and Barbie Taylor, so that people understand that I'm your wife. Right. Like, it's a respect thing to his family. And on Facebook, I even have Barbie Ingle, and then in parentheses, Barbie Ingle Taylor, as a respect to my husband. Although it's not my legal name, I do have that as a nickname, listed as a nickname. Well, and Barbie,
for his
can you also talk about, because I think this is really important, and I know this is more of not so much cyber, but it can be included. You told me when we spoke in the past, you would start to not let people know where you're going to be for an event or something. Yeah, please go into that.
I have another, and he will. If I post where I'm going to be, he will show up. He lives in New York. He will get on a plane and fly. And like, for instance, one event we were doing with the Phoenix Coyotes hockey team, mm-hmm. and I'm walking around the concourse, and all of a sudden he comes around the corner, and I like did a double take, like, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, I saw on Facebook that you were going to be here, so I flew in.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Wow. He's shown up at other eye paint events here in Arizona. He's shown up in New York. He's shown up in Las Vegas. Like, literally, if I say I'm going to be somewhere, he will get on a plane and fly there. Well, I don't know his purpose. I try, like, at one of the last events that I saw him at, which has been like 2 years now, because I changed how I behave to block myself from the stalkers. And I've had a stalker show up in my neighborhood. Oh, why can't I just come in? Just let me in. I'm in my RV in your neighborhood. Just let me in. No, you're not coming in my house. Sorry. But this guy, like, I literally hired a team of security to be at an event that he didn't tell me he was coming. He didn't register. He just showed up. And I had a feeling, because I had to publicly announce that I was going to be there, that he would just show up, and he did. And I had a security team that kept him away from me.
How does this make you feel? I mean, like, what does this do to you when this happens to you?
Oh, goodness, that's a great question. It is scary. It's made me change who I am, and it made me change what I do. Like you said, I changed my calendar. I unless I'm doing a paid promotional event that I publicly by contract have to say I'm going to be there, I don't post that information. I'm not going to tell all the things that I do because I want to be able to protect myself. But I also provide resources. Like if I post something, I will give a resource to where I found the information or where someone could go verify the information, because like you said, I've had people who just make up things about me. Like my husband repainted our house with paint from Home Depot, and that turned into we remodeled our house, which I also bought with. I pay money according to these people. So
not only that, Ken has a real job too. I mean, you know what I mean? He goes to work every day.
I can prove that my husband works a regular job and that's where our income comes from. I can prove my insurance. I can prove my taxes. I can prove
you know what, Barbie, this is the crazy part, is I'm hearing you like wanting to prove all this stuff, but honestly, you shouldn't have to prove any of it, you know? And I know that's what it makes you feel like. It made me too.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Makes you fit. In the beginning, that's how it was. It was like, well, I'll just put up my taxes. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just put this up. What do they want me to do? You know, and so I've proven the things that they said were false, the things that I know about, that I've been told about, false. Mm-hmm. I hired a lawyer. I went to counseling. I cut it all out of my life.
What's so sad is that's money. That's bringing. Yeah, that's money out of your pocket. A lot of money. And not only that, you were driven to the point of that you did not want to live. You were so upset about. Yeah. And I get it. I felt that way too at one point, you know, and I don't.
One of the things you said earlier in this show was that the stalker tries to turn around and make it look like you're stalking them. Mm-hmm. I literally do not post. Like, you can go back and look at my timelines from the start to now. I don't post negative. I don't talk about other people. I don't do the things that these people did to me. Yeah. I don't do them, and I intentionally don't do them. And that's why now I just block and delete, and my life is less stress, less anxiety. You know, I
think that's important to talk about, though, too. Like, I mean, because like Thea earlier was asking me, because somebody did something really weird through a PM last night between her and I, and she's like, well, what are you going to do about this? And I'm like, you know what? I cannot worry about it, because I can only worry about what I have control over, and a lot of this I don't. And if I do, I know from past when I used to, it will drive me nuts, and that will drive me to want to do something that I would never ever imagine doing, like, you know, trying to hurt myself. You know what I mean? Because that's how it feels. Like, that's what happens, and so I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do is if somebody sends me a direct message, if I don't know you, I don't open it. I will automatically archive it without being read. Mm-hmm. If you send me a DM that is a voice DM, I can't hear. I'm not going to listen to it, and if I could, I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't, because one, I've gotten attacked with viruses on my computers, and we've had like years of work for the foundation just trashed because I opened up somebody's voice message.
You know what? And this is so weird. So, like, because I was sending Thea recently stuff. So in the last few weeks, I've gotten this thing where it says, Jonelle Elgaway has my profile picture, and it says like close to 1 million people views or something like that. And if you go into it, it has this like Wheel of Fortune wheel, you know, and it will say, if you want this off, do something. I never hit that, because now I found out actually that will lead into something else. I've gotten that like 3 or 4 times in the last like week or two. I don't know what it is. Yeah. And when somebody sends that to me, honestly, I block them now, because I'm like, why are you sending this? And they don't answer me. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a fake account, or they're trying to hurt me. Because that's what it will do. Well, it will put a virus on, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And that's another thing with the stalking and bullying. Some of the people who have done it to me will actually come in and be like, I want to be an iPain delegate. Mm. And they join the program, And then I've spent hours on the phone with these patients who are saying that they want to be advocates and they want to help and they want to be a delegate. And then like literally at our last leadership meeting, within 2 hours of me saying, okay, here's the hashtags that we're going to use for Chronic Pain Awareness Month, which starts in September. Here's the hashtags we're going to use. Within 2 hours, another charity put out the hashtags that we were using for eye pain, which we had not. The only people that knew were the people that were in that private meeting.
Okay, so now you're being stalked from other possible nonprofits? We get stalked from other...
Yeah. We get stalked from other nonprofits. I had somebody call about 2 weeks ago that said, hey, we know you're going to this event. And I was like, well, why do you think that? And they said, well, you are. And I was like, well, there's nothing's announced. Well, we saw it on the iPain calendar, this event is listed. And I said, just because an event is listed on the iPain calendar doesn't mean that anybody from iPain is going to be there, or specifically me or anybody else from our charity. Like, we could have, like, submitted stuff to go in the gift bag, or we could just be doing a favor to another organization and that we're partnered with is having an event and posted it for them because they asked us to. It could be many different reasons why something's on the iPain calendar. It doesn't mean that that's where Barbie's going.
Right.
And they were like, you're going to be there.
And that's smart, though. So, I mean, I know we've talked about it a few times. That is smart that you started, like, doing this. So do you have, like, any advice if somebody is being cyberbullied, or there's things going on within our support groups, or if this is happening to anybody, do you have any advice that you could give them that has helped you? And I know you don't want to say all of it, but any other stuff that you haven't mentioned?
Yeah, the biggest thing is for your own sanity, block and delete, or delete and then block, so that you don't have to keep looking at this message and thinking about this message or whatever it is. I do screenshots. I do, if a new patient calls, and I'm talking to them, I will tape record the call. Which in Arizona, where some states you can't do that. You have to tell the other person you're being tape recorded.
Right, because I remember you told me even people are surprised that you'll actually answer the phone for Eye Pain Foundation.
Oh.
They're like, oh, it's Barbie Engel.
Yes.
Yeah. And
yeah.
you know, and that's a really kind thing that you're doing. Like, hey, I'm going to answer because I care this much. I want to do this. But on the other thing, you're right. It leaves you open to something that's not so... Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said earlier, there's key words and things that I can pick out now with certain patients that is like a red flag. And I can't tell you like a specific example, but when I see it, I know it.
I know what you mean.
Or
I do the
when
same.
the hair on my arm or the back of my neck raises, it's like, ooh, this is not a good person. I'm just not going to answer. And, you know, I can't help everybody. I used to want to help everybody and try even... You know, oh, they just don't understand me. They just don't know me. Well, maybe they really just don't want to know me. And then when I don't shake their hand back, as a metaphor, I won't shake a bully's hand, especially if they've hurt me to the point of wanting to die. Like then they'll use that and turn it around and say, look, she's antisocial or
she's really mean.
Know,
yeah, she doesn't really care about us, or something like that.
She doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right. And I do care. I care tremendously. I have to protect myself because of the bullies that have harassed me to that extreme.
I totally agree with you. And I mean, it's a fine line, but I agree in the sense of what you're saying. We have to listen to our inner voices. We have to listen to our gut feeling. If there's something that's off, like, don't like push it to the side, because I'm one of those people that did in the past, but I can't any longer.
Yeah.
You know, and it sounds like
well,
you're doing
another
the same.
thing that I would is people being a third party. They would extend themselves as a third party, meaning they would say, "Hi, Barbie. I was just writing for some advice because my friend Susie had." I always use the term that Susie cheerleader is like what I've learned as a child. So I don't know any Susie out there specifically. I'm just using Susie as an example. But you know, Susie needs to see a doctor and she's having a really hard time. I used to answer all of those type of messages, and now I say, please have the person contact us directly. If they really need help, contact me directly, because I want to help the people who really need help, but I don't want to waste time on someone trying to stalk me or bully me or squirrel me and waste my time and try to drive me nuts answering questions that are for a nobody,
Yeah.
that are for a fake Susie.
Do you feel that these people are usually just seeking your attention? Is that
Yes.
why they're contacting? Okay, yeah.
Some, well, like I said, there's 8 that I know that have for whatever reason. I used to think it was, like I said, I used to think it was miscommunication, that they just don't know me, they just don't understand. But then after hearing them on tape and seeing their direct messages, like to each other, I know that it's more than that. It's for those people, it's beyond a regular bully. It's extreme, and there's a hate there for whatever reason. They've made it their purpose to ruin my life.
Yeah, and this is a
And
thing.
I've heard,
I don't think somebody like you, myself, or Thea can understand that thought process. We just can't. And so I don't know if it's so much of the why they're doing it, but that they're just doing it.
It doesn't matter why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, because I know a lot of people that this has happened to. They're like, well, why? Don't worry about that. It's
Right.
happening.
Yeah, well, that's the question we want answered.
Right.
Sorry.
But I also want to say that 99% of the people are not a bad person.
Right.
They're doing a bad thing, especially the ones that are extreme.
Well,
At the same time, I don't know them. They don't know me. How can I say that they're a bad person?
Yeah, well,
And
they were
so,
saying some
like,
of the
it's-
stats that
What was that?
What?
Sorry, Thea. what?
I'm trying to. Some of the stats that are supporting what she's saying. We all have, at one point in time, even participated in that type of cyberbullying or stalking or something like that. We've all done it to little tiny degrees. So it's something that we have to really be careful of to say think that someone's just a bad person because doing this.
You're right. Like my ex-husband,
seeking.
when I figured out he was like cheating on me, I would go in and I would like look into his stuff, and that was, I guess, a form of cyber stalking, you know? I mean, we were still together, but, you know, it bothered me. So I know I've done it. I know last night I mentioned about something else I've done. And you don't feel like it is. It's just you're checking up on people. But I think what we're talking about right now is a way different thing. I mean, this is going beyond a line, bothering people.
It too intentionally hurt.
What was that, Barbie?
We're talking about the people who are doing it intentionally, that declare war on somebody or declare hate, harm, ill intention on somebody.
Yes.
It's for any reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It's still illegal and wrong.
Exactly.
And you've the people involved, the authorities involved. I had to hire an attorney to go to court and do cease and desist.
So I have a question for you though. So you did that. Was anything like I know the one guy is in jail now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. But for me, sorry. I know I probably shouldn't say that. But for me, I didn't get anything out of this. Like, I mean, the only thing that got out of it is that I think that they realized that I was getting the authorities involved, but they never did anything for me. So that really makes me feel like, oh my goodness, they could get away with anything. It scares me.
I mean, they literally, even with a restraining order, because I have a restraining order against two people that have stalked me, and in both cases, they could come back and harm me. They could fine me due to my high profile, public, profile. They could come back and harm me, hurt me physically. I do have a gun at my house, so if they show up here, they will be sorry. But it
good for you.
Really is.
You warned.
I love open carry state, but it really is something. Even with a restraining order, it is still something that any person can come and stalk you.
You're right, and you know what? They don't actually have to follow
unless
it.
they're in jail.
Yeah, and they don't always follow it.
Most stalkers too don't really go right to the extreme limit. I know I had a personal stalker myself offline, and he just skirted the line the entire time. A little bit more over, and I could file charges, but just that amount, it wouldn't stick in court. It was very frustrating because There's not a lot you can do except either allow them to continue to do this to you, try to block them. Once they get hold of your friends lists and everything like that and start sending out mass emails and whatnot, it's
and just an FYI, we have Sunny Glenn on right now too, so I just want to say hi, Sunny.
Hi, Sunny.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I know you have a story too to go through. It's very recent. We live in the same area. Would you be willing to talk about that a little bit, please?
Absolutely, please.
So what's been going on?
Where do you want me?
Start from the beginning. What has happened with you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I've been listening. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
It's okay.
I've been listening to you guys, and
this isn't easy. You know what I mean? No, it's look. I've had so many tears because of this. I mean, Barbie wanted to kill herself. I've been there. I wanted to kill myself too. You know what I mean? Like, this is not easy.
Me too, but I'm stronger than that now, and I'm glad to hear that Barbie is as well, and you too, Jonelle.
Yeah.
And let me start by saying that I think that what you are doing by doing this is going to help, and I think it's incredible, and thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, I know you have a local business here. So, you have a taxi business.
I do.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of the business?
Yes, I have a taxi cab business. It's called Sunny Cab, and it's at Carolina and Curry Beach. Mm-hmm. And thanks for that plug.
Absolutely.
But I have worked my butt off. I've been in the taxi cab business for probably 18 or 19 years. I actually drove most of those years. I just quit. I mean, occasionally I pick up a customer if necessary, but now I'm handling more the business aspect of it and the promoting aspect of it, and I have drivers that drive my cab. But just to touch on something that Barbie was saying, and I also have been stalked prior to this, and it was actually with another cab company that I worked for prior to this on this island that's no longer in existence, Karma. Mm-hmm. But they had another employee that was a fellow employee of mine that started stalking me to the point that, I mean, I don't know, it sounds like Barbie may have taken some of her stalkers to court. I did press charges and was able to get him convicted in a court of law. And it was through, they categorized it as cyberstalking because I was able to prove it through the text messages. Mm-hmm. But he was stalking me in person as well. It was really scary. He would show up at my home at 6:30 a.m. when I would come home because he knew that's what time I got done working because he worked for the same company. And at the time, I kept telling my boss that what was going on, he wouldn't do anything. And fortunately, the police did do the right thing, but they really didn't until I had proof. He arrested me. He showed up somewhere at a public place, and someone else called the police before I even had a chance to. And while they had him in custody, before they had taken his belongings from him, he called me while the police were on my front steps, and I was on the phone with the magistrate. So I was able to prove it. Ironically, he drives for Uber at Carolina Beach now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I know is he the same person that's doing what's doing now? Because I know in the last week
that was somebody different. What is going on currently, this just started last week to my knowledge. I have a Sunny Cab Facebook page and
website.
I'll get to that. They opened up 4 fake Facebook pages, mm-hmm. and the phrasing on all the complaints are exactly the same.
Wait. Actually, it's not pages. Hang on, it's Facebook accounts. So they were a person, and they said they used your Sunny Cab, and then they put a bad review.
They set up 4 fake Facebook accounts mm-hmm. with fake names, and then they went to my Sunny Cab page and they reviewed it with a 1-star rating. Let me first say that I've held a 5-star rating since day one. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, in 24 hours, I had a 3-star rating.
What does that do to your business?
When I noticed it.
What does that do? Like, if
Oh
somebody
my
does
God.
that, where does it put you? Does it stop trending? What does that do?
Well, here's the thing. They're also, once I got let me just keep going. So Facebook, I reported them to Facebook. Facebook never has responded to me, but they must have found it to be fake, because those pages are no longer in existence. I can't find them.
Good.
But I got screenshots, and the postings, that the reviews that they wrote are gone.
Yeah,
however,
like
they
Facebook
didn't bring my 5-star rating back. And so
wow.
now the same people, and I know it's the same people because the phrasing is, the words are all exactly the same, and also on some of them they use the same names. Since they couldn't do it on Facebook anymore, they went on the internet. They went to, I have a website, www.sunnycab.com. They went on there. They went on, I pay $150 a month to advertise with a company called Brand Rep, and they guarantee you that if you have the most good reviews, then you will stay in the #1 slot. So if anybody searches for a taxi cab at Carolina or Curie Beach, Sunny Cab will pop up first as long as I have the most good reviews, which I did. And all of a sudden that started sliding, and I checked it out after this Facebook incident the other day. And sure enough, those same fake names with the same exact words are posted on there. But here's even worse. It gets worse. You don't know this part yet, Jonelle.
Okay.
I just found out today. I went on there and tried to report them for it, and I was unable to. I even called my my phone carrier, AT&T, and they said, I think somebody's hacking into your phone. And then they checked further, and they said, no, apparently the people that are posting this vile comments and bad reviews that are all false and fake with fake names have reported me to the internet, so they've reversed it on me.
We were talking about that earlier.
From pulling them.
Wow, wow.
Oh my God, it is. It's insane.
So they're taking on the victim role now.
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I've experienced this before on a different platform, not on the cyberstalking thing. So it's not something I'm unfamiliar with. But when it's on the internet, there's like who do you go to? I've tried all day long to get a phone number to call somebody at Google and have yet to find a phone number. Unfortunately, you can't Google. And so I don't, and they've got me blocked from being able to report them. So the next thing that I'm doing, which I've already been working on every day this week and last week when it started, I've been calling the police both at Curie Beach and Carolina Beach. They have a specific officer detective that handles this type of thing, like crime on the internet, and stalkers and cyber.
I'm sure it's the same one I used, but yeah.
Well,
I hope he helped you.
I've been trying to get in. I hope. Yeah, that sounds like it didn't help you, and I'm not surprised because, unfortunately, I have called this man every single day for the last however many days it's been since it started, 5 days ago, I guess. And I've not just called him, but I've also gone to the police department.
Yeah.
And every time he either wasn't in or he was on the phone. I've left like 2 or 3 messages on.
Well, he should come to your place. He'll come to your place, honestly.
Well, he hasn't even returned a call, and today I went there, or yesterday or today, and they told me that he'll be back on Thursday. But then I was told by the taxi cab inspector that he's about to leave to go to a school for a week out of town to California.
We're gonna have to switch names with that, because if not, I'll give you the detective I had. But this is the thing: is I think because it was personal for me, it was out of state where it was going on. I mean, here it was going on, but she was out of state. But with you, this is a local business. You have a local business. Which, by the way, you have a great business.
That's exactly.
And
thank you so much.
Yes.
That's exactly it. And you, look, can I just answer your question from earlier?
Sure.
You I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you asked me earlier, how has this affected my business? Well, let me tell you, I have worked my butt off. I don't know what I'm doing on the internet. I'm teaching myself because I can't afford to pay somebody to do it. And I'm doing a pretty good job of it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm learning as I go, but I'm doing pretty good. And I'm not scared to ask questions. I'm not scared to pick people's brains. But with that being said, I'm still a rookie at it. And I have managed to, we've got quite the loyal foundation of customers that are locals, and they support us and promote us with the tourists that are here. But here's the problem. I'm so frustrated with people, and I know they have good intentions and they just want to try to make me feel better, but it actually doesn't make me feel better when they say, just don't let it bother you. You don't understand. It's not a matter of my ego being hurt. It's a matter of
this is your
my
well-being.
livelihood.
Yes, exactly. I mean, this is what pays the bills.
And people say to me, "Oh, well, people that know you will know better." Yes, that's true. But unfortunately, where I live at is a tourist area.
We get like 20
area.
to 30,000 people in weekly. Yes. And so they don't know that.
Exactly. In the wintertime, we have 8,000 people. In the summertime, it explodes to 30,000.
Yeah.
Those people have nothing else to go by except for a review.
Like Yelp and everything else.
I personally look at reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I personally
me too.
look at reviews when I'm looking for a new business.
Yes, me too.
So
and I'll pick the top
why wouldn't
person.
I think anyone else would?
You're right. So this is like personally taking your business away right now. Your money, you're paying your bills. It's taking that out.
But this is a very small community, and it's deformation of character. And I live on this island.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my family lives. My mom lives 5 houses from me. My sister lives 5 houses from me.
Right.
You know, and of course
it's a very
Dana's
small
different,
town-minded place. You know what I mean? It is. I get what you're saying.
And
So has this
said,
affected your family? Has this affected your family or the way they think of you at all?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not
good.
at all, because this isn't my first rodeo with this problem, and they know who I am, and the people that actually know me, my family and my immediate friends, and even my regular customers, they are angry over this happening to me.
You know, I was too. I mean, I posted it everywhere, and I'm like, hey, locals, we have to support this business here. This is not right.
Well, okay, well, listen to this, Jonelle. The people that were, I don't think you saw it, but the people that were on Facebook making all these claims, she actually took screenshots of some of my conversations with you and other people and posted it on, there's one girl that it was a real Facebook page or account, and she posted the screenshot of me asking people to go and review me. And to that, I have to say, there is nothing immoral, unethical, or wrong about that.
No.
That is why Facebook has a invite your friends to like your page or review your page.
Well, hang on. You know what? First of all, I'm going to stick up for you on this. So first of all, I think that was through a PM, but maybe you did it through somewhere that was open. But this is the thing.
I did.
I did.
And I don't apologize for it. There's nothing wrong with it.
I went on and I said the same thing. I made a post about it and I said, hey, help Sunny Glenn. This is her business. We are all locals. We support each other. This is going on and this is wrong. And you know what? We need to stick up for her. And I know there were several people that went on and gave you reviews besides myself and my fiance, Brian.
Yes, they did.
Yes. And
yes,
we wanted to get your...
I'm grateful for you for doing that.
Well, this is the thing, though. There was a wrong, okay? And within the community, in our personal small community, although I have to say, this goes along with everything else that I'm talking about tonight, because within the personal Facebook groups and stuff, the support groups, those are the communities too. And you feel like that's your community there too. So
yes.
All of these are the same things. It's like, you know, it's just an online thing, but you know, we don't have to live near each other, but we live near each other. And I know I'm going to support somebody that is being harassed or bothered, and it's not right. You know, and I mean, I know you were so thankful, and I really appreciate it. But you know what? This is it's wrong what's going on, and I will definitely always voice that up. You know, so I'm so sorry this is going on with you.
Thank you very much. And you know what? And I'm usually the one that's doing what you're doing for me now, and I'm not used to having the roles reversed. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Because I'm always standing up for people, and
well,
you know,
you're getting it back.
Let me even back up a little. Well. Huh?
Well,
yeah, right. Yeah, thank you,
yeah.
Jonelle.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, the thing is that there are 2 suspects involved in my mind of who's doing this, and I'm pretty positive it's either one or both of them, and I think they have some of their friends in on it as well, because now there's a couple of girls involved.
Yeah, they gang
and one of them has she has a real Facebook page. So I believe that's what I believe is going on. Both of those people, I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why they have a problem with me is because I know why they got a problem with me, because they're not doing right. Because they are illegal taxi services on this island, and they've gotten away with it for 2 seasons. I am a whistleblower, you doggone Skippy, because I pay $850 a month for taxi cab insurance. I pay $15 a year for a business license, $10 per driver for permits, and so on and so forth. We have to pay for inspections, everything. I have to pay for all my repairs on my cabs. I pay for all that stuff in order to be legit. I want us to be legal. And it's the safest thing for our tourists and for our locals, and that's what the police don't seem to understand. And I'm trying to get that into their heads. They act like it's no big deal. And you know why? Because they're old school. This is a good old boy system here, and before I go any further, let me please say I am not dogging the police.
I know.
I love the police on this island better than anywhere else, but in this area they fall very short, and they will even tell you that.
Well,
They've told me that.
I know, and that's what they told me too. Yeah, they told me too. They said, you know what? Look, we do not have enough manpower
they
here.
They don't know what to do.
Well, but they don't have enough manpower, and I do have to say, from all the. I know Thea and I, we've been researching on like cyberstalking and stuff like that. There's not a lot of information out there. And then you come to a small island like we live on, which Thea does too, by the way, in Canada. And so like you have very small manpower that is actually having the time to do stuff. And you know, in the beginning with my case, I thought, oh my goodness, they're going to help me. But they couldn't, because you know what? He came back and he said, you're sending me too much shit. Oh, excuse my language. It's too much stuff. Sorry. Too much stuff. And I was just like, okay, but you told me to.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I've learned that in this small community, I'm on a first-name basis, and I text frequently with both taxi cab inspectors. There was one, and now he's been promoted, and he is passing the baton, and I've just found out from the person he's passing the baton to that they're getting ready to take it away from the police altogether, and it's going to go to the town. Great, not a problem. I will be right there in the town hall meetings. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce at Carolina Beach. And here's the problem. They are not, even if they had the manpower, Jonelle, they don't know what they're supposed to do. Do you know that over the weekend, Friday, I contacted the taxi cab inspector, and I said, this is what's going on. And the one that the baton is being passed to. And I had not spoken to him prior. And I said, this is what's going on. I've already spoken with the other inspector. I'm purposely not saying their names.
I know.
Anyways,
don't do that.
I won't. I know better. So he said to me, I said, what do I do? Because today is Friday, and this person that's operating illegally that I believe is stalking me and harassing me on the internet is going to be out here operating illegally. What do I do? He said, what you need to do is call the non-emergency number, which I have it in my phone, and you need to call them, tell them that you spoke to me, and they'll get a cop to call you back. The cop called me back. They were all very nice. Dispatcher was awesome, took all the info. The officer was really nice when he called back. But you know what? I can't believe what I'm about to tell you.
Tell us.
This is what the officer actually said to me. He goes, well, he was really nice, and he was not being sarcastic. He was dead serious. He said, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, I didn't say this to him, but I felt like saying, are you serious right now? He did not know what to do. I said, but fortunately, I knew that was going to happen, and I had already asked the inspector, what am I supposed to tell him to do? And I said, the inspector told me that you are to write him a citation and tell him to get off of this island, and then he will deal with it on Monday and contact him. So that's what happened. I don't think he got written a citation, because after I talked to the officer, the guy disappeared. But he goes, wow, that guy gave me his business card tonight. So the illegal people are up here handing their business cards out to the cops, and the cops don't even know to look for a yellow sticker on the window.
Well, you know, and
anyway, the point of that is that is the reason that guy is stalking me.
Well, a quick FYI, because
go ahead.
No, Barbie Engel wanted. She's saying some stuff about what you're saying. She said, I have to add, please be careful not to bully the bully on social media. I asked my friends not to stand up for me publicly. In court, they can turn. I have not done that. In court, they can turn it around on the person being bullied. And then she said, I gave my lawyers binders of stuff. The police don't want it. I agree. The police only wanted threats. It's not a job for the cops, unfortunately. That's what she was telling you.
I think that the problem is that the laws are really ambiguous online. There is nothing that really protects us once we go out into cyberspace, and it's really us who has to be careful, because people are anonymous. They will do whatever they can while they are unseen. People, they say 9 times out of 10, one of the nicest people you could ever meet could be one of the nastiest people online, because you can be anybody there. Mm-hmm. And I think that the laws are not catching up, and the stalking is not catching up.
Yeah, and
the old stalking laws are not catching up with the new stalkers of today.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just that the laws aren't catching up. It's also that the officers don't even know what to do, which is amazing to me, because I know if the
No, you're right.
Hello?
You're right. Keep going. We're listening to you.
Well,
they don't know.
okay, so,
they don't know enough about it. There needs to be
well,
more
the
training.
Thing is like if an officer stops somebody because they ran a red light, the first thing they ask that driver is license and registration and insurance form. Okay, so why don't I just don't? It's just amazing to me that they don't know what to do, and this has been going on for several years now. So why do they still not know what to do? I don't get that.
Well, you know,
and especially where I live at, because it's a small community, and you would think you've got people coming from all different areas of the country. You know, you want them to be safe, don't you?
Right.
The problem right there, though, is you're
it's
a
a
small
safety
area.
But well, hang on though. So there is some things though that I looked up to find out, and the U.S. Department of Justice had issued recommendations for people who believe they are being cyberstalked. They said the first step is demand the stalker to stop all contact and harassing actions if you have a way to talk to them. They say save all emails, message, screenshots, and other communications for evidence. And it's vital that we do this, and they're not altered in any way, and that the electronic copies are copied and printed out. Save all records of threats against the victim's safety of life if that's going on. This includes any written threats, logs, and dates of times, and circumstances of verbal events or online stuff. And then this is something, maybe, Sunny, I don't know if you know this, but contact the perpetrator's internet service provider. Internet service providers or ISP.
How am I supposed to know who
right.
that is?
Well, we have a very limited one here on the island. So hang on. So the ISP prohibit their users from using their services to harass others.
The person that's doing it to me doesn't live on the island.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Isn't that funny?
So contacting the ISP may result in discontinuation of the harasser's internet service, and will put the ISP on notice to maintain records of the harasser's internet use. I didn't even know this, and when I was looking up stuff, I looked into that. Also, keep detailed records of contact with ISP and law enforcement officials. Keep all logs of anything, and get official reports when they are available. I think you just have to keep trying going at it. Let all your friends know. Let people know. Yep. Go ahead.
I am keeping all the screenshots and things. Unfortunately, right now, I'm waiting for the police, which I will be back at their door again tomorrow.
Be persistent.
Because I have to get evidence because so far, like I said, this person is putting fake names on there.
Yeah.
So I have to...
Maybe show them tonight's show.
Well, what they've done is on the internet, like I said earlier, on the internet, they've reported me as if they're the victim now. And so I'm unable to report them, so they're able to continue doing what they're doing, and I'm unable to do anything about it. Yeah. And so I have to get evidence from the police. Are going to have to help me and trace it back to them so I can prove that it is them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Well,
it's crazy that the actual victim is the one that has to prove it.
Right, I know, and that is very sad, and maybe there are things that we can do.
You need resistance, too.
Right, but I know what you're talking about, because, when I told the local police about what was going on with me, that this girl took out 8 credit cards in my name in 2015 here, they at first they were like, well, why didn't you ever report her and stuff? And then they were like, oh, well, you're sending us too much stuff. They told me to send everything, and they were like, oh, it's too much. And then they were like, well, you know what? I don't think we can help you with this. And that made me feel like I'm crazy, and I feel like, who's going to help me then?
Trust me, I've had my I'm crazy moments too. But can I just tell you something?
Please.
Let me just say this. When and I promise you, I'm not saying this just to be talking about the taxi cab business. It's not. It just leads into this. When all the stuff started happening with all the fake cabs coming up here and everything, I had another driver with another company that I used to work for and work with, who I said, look at this. We've got 3 taxi cabs sitting here in front of this bar, and they're illegal. One doesn't have equipment. One has stolen equipment. The other one doesn't have, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, I know, but what are we going to do? And I said, I'll tell you what you're going to do. Watch this. And I got right out of my taxi cab, and I went right over to the police officers standing in the alley taking selfies. And I said, that's what he was doing. He was taking selfies with cute girls. That's exactly what they were doing, and it was pissing me off. And I went over there and I said, sir, do you see that taxi cab right there? They're illegal, and this is why. This one's illegal. And guess what? He ran them all off. That was only for that night. But since then, I have been an itch on their back. And I am always very professional. I'm always very polite. I do not raise my voice. I'm very respectful. But I tell them, hey, y'all call me on a consistent basis and tell me what I need to do to get legal. That person's not legal, and your officers don't even know that.
You know,
and they're
Sonny,
out here operating illegally.
Yeah, this is something obviously.
So the point that I was right now, what's going on right now is the taxi cabins. I've actually made some segue. It's taken a while, but guess what happened today? The taxi cab inspector. Actually, I used to live in Jacksonville, North Carolina, an hour and a half from here, and I owned and operated a yellow cab up there. Well, I went up there, and I am on a good relation with the inspector up there, nothing personal, just taxi cab stuff. And I got her to print off for me, because the inspector here asked me to. I got her to print off for me all the ordinances for taxi cabs. So it's different in every county, but it's a guideline, and they don't have a guideline here. So I brought it down here. He read it. Guess what? He went up there today to have a meeting with her. So, and I told him, I said, anything you need us to do to help you train them, anything. It's just they don't know what to do. And it's the same thing with the cyberstalking. It's like they don't know what to do, or they don't want to do it. Yep. I don't
What are your suggestions then? What do we do? Do we go to our local county place if you have a business that is being cyberstalked? Do we write into our mayors? What?
Well, here in my small community, I think don't misinterpret what I'm about to say. It's not easy. It's that you still meet a lot of resistance. But because it is a small community and I live here, I'm not going away. I'm not going away, and I make sure they know I'm not going away. I remain respectful. I do not raise my voice. I do not cuss. I stay professional, but I am right, and I make sure that I'm good and I'm legal, and I do the right thing. And every single day, I call them. Like I said, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I've just been told Friday by the new inspector that it is going to be handed over to the town hall. And to be honest with you, I'm actually kind of glad about that, because I think they get more things done. They've got, like you said, too short-handed with the police department. Again, I am not bad-mouthing the officers here.
I know you're not.
I love them.
Well, I have a
They do a brilliant job compared to anywhere else.
Yes, I agree.
But maybe town hall is really funny about ordinances about things, so maybe they'll be more diligent about the order of things.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. And I'm going to go to the town hall meetings and speak. I sure am.
Absolutely, I know, and I want to do those too. Is Barbie Engel still on with us? Barbie, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Hey, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie.
Can you answer the same thing? What suggestions do you have going if this is happening to somebody, like what's going on with you too? Because we're hearing it from a business, like a local business. What about like a nonprofit like that you have?
For me, it was the even here in the Phoenix area where there's 10 million people, it just under 10 million. The police departments they're not set up to handle this. They're not
crazy
able
to me.
They need it to come from the lawyers, and they need it to come from the courts. And if a judge mandates, whether it's a personal stalker or the people the gaggle that was trying to ruin International Pain Foundation, it had to go through the lawyer, and it cost me. As the prosecuting person, I'm the one being stalked. I'm the one who has the burden to prove that I'm being stalked or that the foundation is being affected.
Yes, that's true.
Right. And,
so,
and what's horrible is we're the victims. So why do the victims have to prove that, right?
The way that's the American justice system. That's in
listen, it's worse than that. If you put a charge against somebody, you have to know their full name and their address. How insane is that? Like, why would I know where that guy lives?
Right, you have to become.
They won't even let. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to be, and the cops won't give it to you. You have to be a detective on your own. So what are you supposed to do? Become the stalker? It's crazy.
That's why I went, and when I got to the point of wanting to commit suicide over it, I had the only choice that like kill myself or go get an attorney that could stop it and do something about it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. And that attorney can get the police to go serve a warrant or go serve a cease and desist or whatever the court order is. And so it's
crazy.
But that's the
way it is.
That our justice system.
No, you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's insane. It shouldn't be like that.
Well, you know, guys, I really appreciate you coming on, Barbie, Sunny tonight, and telling your stories, because it's all a little different. You know, like Sunny has a local business that's being hurt by this and personal. Barbie has a nonprofit, and then it's more personal, but I am kind of trying to build a business here too. So I don't know. Eventually, maybe that will turn into it too. Mm-hmm.
Can I just say one more thing?
Please.
Because what you just said reminded me of something I wanted to say. The thing about the nonprofit, I didn't hear the very beginning of Barbie's story, but I did hear enough of it to know that her thing is a nonprofit. That doesn't make it any less scary, and it sounds like they were stalking her personally as well. So
yes, and it goes both ways.
With me,
mm-hmm.
Yes, and can I just tell you that I know this sounds corny, and I don't care. I like corny. I'll eat cornflakes all day long. One of the main reasons why I started my cab company is because I got really tired of the owners of cab companies not caring about their employees, their drivers, letting them drive in vehicles that were falling down, and just not really caring about their customers either, obviously, if they were letting their vehicles fall apart. I wanted to start Sunny Cab because I do live in a small, tight-knit community, and my goal and inspiration was to give back to my community in a very tangible way, not just hot air, and I have been unable to do that because of this type of thing constantly going on. I'm so busy putting out fires that I can't do that. I've taken in so many people in my own home this year. It's ridiculous. I always say I'm an animal and people rescuer, but the animals usually appreciate it more, but it won't make me not help the next one. And one of my goals with Sunny Cab is I wanted to get, like up here on the island, everybody has koozies for their drinks and stuff like that. I wanted to get that and T-shirts and hats, but I wanted to use that money to go back towards helping my community in a very tangible way. And every time I re-upped on my hats and T-shirts and koozies, I wanted to change the charity, so I was helping a bunch of different charities. And because of having to constantly put out fires because of this, they're stopping us from doing that, and it's just crazy.
That is very true. There's so many projects that I could have done or been a part of that because of the stalking.
Same here. I had a program that I was setting up with a woman that what they do is they find homes for people that are homeless. And I told her, I said, I know that the other taxi cab companies, if you go to an organization, you have to have 10 taxi cabs. I don't have 10, I have 3. And you have to do this and you have to do that and jump through all these hoops. But if we two together decide we want to help people, we can figure out a way to make it happen. Yeah. And she had come up with a program and everything. And I told her, I don't care if you're in Wilmington and I'm at the beach. We'll drive all the way into town. And those other organizations will only take people like to dialysis or to a doctor's appointment. I said, people that are in a bad way like that, they need a hand up in everything. They need to go to the grocery store. They need to, there's different things they need to do that other organizations won't take them. I said, Sunny Cab will, and we don't.
Well, that's awesome.
Charity.
Yeah, and we would love to be able to put you up on our website for that. That would be great if you're going to be doing that stuff. Because I know there's a lot of places that wish they had that service. Mm-hmm.
I've got a guy right now that I'm working with. He's a friend of mine on Facebook that he owns 4 halfway houses in Wilmington. The closest one is on Oleander, and we're talking right now about those people. They can't seem to find anybody to get them around, and I said it's quite a hike for us, but we will do it just to help our community. But a lot of the things that I'm so full of ideas about things like that to help my community, and I've just had to put the brakes on them because financially, emotionally, and every way, and physically, I'm just drained from putting out so many fires from this stupid stalking thing.
Well, Sunny, thank you so much for coming on tonight and like talking about your story, but also let's get to absolutely. We'll get together and we'll talk more about this for help. So we'll work together on this. I think we can do a lot of good things in our communities here, our local communities. So again, thank you so much. And Barbie, thank you so much for coming on too and telling about your story, because like these are the things that is going on, and I think we need to talk about this stuff. I wanted to go more into stuff, but man, we're at like an hour and a half already. I don't know, Thea, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Did you want to talk about anything before we get going here? Because I know we had so many things to go over. Well, but I think the stories were good.
As we all know, October is going to be Cyber Month, and I believe that we're probably going to have a lot of information, a lot more topics to be able to discuss. And look, even 2 nights in, we still haven't had enough time to really be able to go over the scope of the subject here. So I think that come October, we definitely are going to have to do this again and really
absolutely.
Quick thing. Help people find ways to prevent this from occurring, because obviously it's a problem.
Barbie, did you want to say something before we get going here too? Barbie, are you on?
Well, I just
go ahead.
Yeah, I just want people to be aware of cyberstalking and tune into your October shows, because as you said, you have a lot more to talk about. There's so much more in depth that needs to be talked about, and I appreciate you guys doing this show on this topic especially.
Absolutely. Well, okay, this is the thing. Like,
for sharing.
Because thank you so much for sharing. Both you and Sunny, thank you, Barbie and Sunny, for doing this. This is the thing, is this happens a lot more than you think it would. It's scary. And when it happens, okay, so we're putting all of our trust in the things. First of all, if it happens to somebody like Barbie and Sunny, Barbie's a public figure. It's a little like nutty with that, I mean, she's trying to put stuff out there to help others, and she's on a public level, but then you have people that are doing stuff to her. I'm not there really yet. I mean, this is so new what I'm doing, but I'm actually starting to get it. And by the way, Barbie Engel has been amazing to give me some really great information on this, because we've talked plenty nights, and she's giving me information, and then when I talk to her next time, I'm like, you know what, that actually helped me, because I didn't realize this was going to happen, because I'm so new into all this stuff. So I really appreciate that, Barbie. And Sunny, you're on like a local level of a local business where this hurt you actually in your pocket as well. And like now this is like screwing things up for you and your family and everybody like locally, because we are in a small town, know about this stuff. So I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And then for like myself and even Thea, we have personal experiences that have happened. For me, it ruined my credit for 2 years. Like, I mean, it went from 800 down to 400s. It's in 600s now after 2 years. Like, that's crazy, right? And I mean, it's very frustrating to me, because like this has hurt me. So not only has this person taken it to like, oh, well, I'm going to bother your family and friends and everything about you, but now I'm going to hurt you personally. Like she let me know she was there, but like, yeah. And I mean, like, I know she's following on YouTube with me, and I know she's following on Twitter, which is weird, but like, I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore about this either. Maybe she's listening tonight, and if she's listening, honestly, what I have to, okay, so I'm going to do this. So what I have to say to somebody that's doing this to me, look, like I, in the past, I've been open to talk to you. You know people that we have mutual friends, so we can reach out to each other. I don't understand why you're doing this. I've never tried to hurt you. I don't understand this, but like, Why are we doing this? Like it's silly. Like, I'm not trying to bother anybody else. I'm just trying to do good, you know? So, like, please, like leave me alone, you know? I mean, if you really want to contact me, just do it already. Like, you know how to get in contact with me. So, that's what I have to say. Sorry. I just don't even know what to do. Say to somebody like that anymore, you know? Like,
No, you said it perfectly.
yeah.
I'd take the moment to do it too.
Yeah, go right ahead, because I know you had some of it too.
Oh no, I'm gonna save mine until October, and
Yes.
share more with it then.
Okay, so in October it is Cyberstalking Awareness Month, or Stalking Awareness Month, and we are going to have, I'm not sure how many shows yet, but we're going to have plenty of them. We have 2 professionals coming on. One owns a PI firm, and another has been a Navy SEAL, and he is starting a firm as well to protect people. I mean, he gets hired all over the world to protect. He was actually at Houston this past year to do the, what is it? What is it called? Super Bowl. Sorry. Yeah. To make sure that, like, no bombs went off and stuff like that. So, like, he has some good information about this. Both of them do. They're going to talk about on a bigger level and a smaller level, and I think we need to hear this. Gang stalking, though. Then we have a woman. She came on last night, actually, Susan Pierce. She kind of teased a little bit about what she'll be talking about. She's also going to be on our network doing Eden's Living, but she is going to talk about her journey of, man, when she was in pharma, she created, I believe, a heart medicine or stroke medicine, and is out now, and now she's being gang stalked. And this is a real thing. When I met her, and she told me about gang stalking, I had no clue what that meant. Go YouTube it. It is nuts. I mean, like, they get, like, local police, firemen, like, military involved. It's really, really weird. Why are they doing this? And then sometimes communities put it together, too. Basically, it's to make the other person to go nuts. And what I'm learning from it is when you become isolated, and let it get you, that's like when it's bad. I know when Brian and I were preparing for the show, we purposely made sure that, one, we had a very good amount of people around us that know who we are. 2, I told my family and friends, like, hey, this is possible things that could happen, because I know, especially conspiracies against wellness, especially when you get into the GMO things, the climate change, the vaccine thing and stuff like that, people aren't happy with you. We've had a few death threats already. It happens, and like, I think if regular national media or international media and stuff like that, regular media put this stuff up, I think that's why it's not going on. So we're going against all that. And I know there's a lot of things that are happening within these communities of all those things. So it's, we have to be a little bit careful. Like last night, I think Thea brought up, or somebody brought up, about all of the holistic doctors being killed, early deaths, strange deaths. I mean, I personally know a doctor in Pennsylvania that was killed a few years ago, and he was in his, like, 50s or something, and it should have happened. And this is going on. It's a real thing. So they're trying to shut us up. And yeah. So anyway, Thea, would you like to mention anything before we get going here?
No, I don't think I have that much to say. I'd like to say, just make sure that everyone tunes in October, because we will be talking more about it. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's a lot of things going to be happening in September for Pain Awareness Month as well. So
yep, and then
November, everyone comes back and listen.
Yes, November is CRPS RSD Awareness Month too, so we'll be doing that stuff too. So, well, I just wanted to thank Thea for co-hosting with me tonight, Barbie Engel for calling in, Sunny, Glenn for calling in, and anybody that is dealing with this, dealing with cyber stalking, bullying, having issues within the support groups. I mean, I know I have been blocked from 6 support groups when I went into remission this past year for RSD or CRPS RSD. Like, I didn't get it. So then I started, like, asking people, hey, the admins of them, private message, is it okay if I post anything about the show? It's going to be about CRPS. I was blocked from 3 of those recently. I don't understand that. Uh, so, this is the thing. I mean, it happens to us all. I mean, I've been on both ends. I mean, I get it. I mean, when my ex was doing stuff to me, I was just like, ah. So I tracked him a little bit. I think there's different leveling degrees, but I think when it goes to a bad place where you're hurting actually somebody physically, mentally, or financially, there's a bad place. And I think we need to do something about that. I would like to put on in October what to do about this, because I know we just talked about the problem tonight, but we didn't talk about how to fix it. And I think we need to do that, because that's one thing I want to do with
and identifying profiles.
Yeah. Yes. Because like Nation's about not just talking about the issue, but we want to fix it too. And I want everybody to come together and do that. So, well, I just wanted to say thank you all for joining in tonight. I really appreciate you coming on. Thea, thank you for co-hosting with me.
Anytime.
Yes. And Nation, have a great night. We'll see you next Tuesday. Not sure what we're doing yet because our person dropped out, but we will have something amazing on as always. Have a great night. Sorry. Oh my God, my butt hurts. Okay.
Listening to Conspiracies Against Wellness with Jonelle Elgaway. Join us next week to get in on the conversation. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and callers, and not necessarily those of EXG LLC.
The Cause Show with Jonelle Elgaway is copyright 2017 by EXG LLC. All rights reserved.